Hi, I'm Esther.
And I'm Sean.
I write about AI news here at Tech Target.
And I edit Esther's stories.
We're here to talk to tech experts about everything AI, from open and closed models to AI agents and who's ahead in the generative AI race.
And even the elusive AGI.
We've got it covered, right, Sean?
Yep, we've got it covered.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Targeting AI podcast. Today, we're speaking to May Habib, co-founder and CEO of Writer, an AI platform. Writer provides customers with a full-stack generative AI platform that helps enterprises generate written content. Its Palmyra LLMs are built for enterprise workflows. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today, May.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. So we want to start by focusing just a little on your background. How did you get your start in the technology business, and have you always wanted to found and build your own business?
Yeah, I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always thought about running and growing something very meaningful, and have always been interested in technology from a young age, for sure. Before founding my first company, I tried it on the other side, investing in tech companies. I like that a lot less, and left to start our first company, Cordoba. I guess I was beginning of my late 20s.
That was actually going to be my next question, because you founded Cordoba before you founded Writer. What was Cordoba about? What lessons did you learn in finding that are you using that you are now using in being the co-founder and CEO of Writer?
Yeah. So it was a machine translation startup, and we really rode kind of every wave of NLP then as well. And that led us to Transformers, which was, transformational. And we started Writer to really build a Transformer first company. And work on English language. So it did feel like a departure at the time, honestly, and one that was very tough, because it was a break with a mission that both me and Wasim felt very attached to, one of making it really a non-issue what language you were born speaking. And I do actually think machine translation is now solved, which is so exciting, thanks to us and many others. And we now have a technology, Transformers, that is capable of so much, translation being one of those problems. We also learned a ton about building and growing a business on the people front, who to hire, how to manage them, who do you want around you, who do you want investing in you. So it was a great first run. Very tough, felt very long, was a slog, honestly. But it's definitely helped Writer go so much faster that we had all those lessons.
Okay, so before we get into your technology a little deeper, how did the idea for Writer itself come about? And you started right before ChatGPT was released, so the generative AI was here, transformers were here, neural networks were here, but it wasn't as easy to use or powerful as it became quickly in 22.
But we started years before ChatGPT. So we started in 2020, and it was great. So many of our early customers, Accenture, others said, look, we felt like geniuses when ChatGPT came out, because everyone was like, thanks to you, we've been using this. So, we definitely benefited from the whole world talking about this, and it no longer being anywhere near as risky to think about AI in these mission critical workflows. So we pioneered the enterprise category for generative AI, and it definitely has a lot to do with the fact that we got to start not just 2 years ahead of everybody in 2020, but a decade ahead. My co-founder and I have been in the NLP space for a long time. And for so much of what we've built with this full stack platform, that depth of language technology has been critical to building all the microservices that we have wrapped the LLM with to create a full stack platform.
So it seems like you just continue to move right along as soon after ChatGPT was created, right? Because so was there any changes that you felt you had to make? Because when I remember that time, obviously you said you started in 2020, but after 2022, there was kind of this resurgence. It seems like everyone woke up and everyone became an AI company, so to speak. There was all these GPTs popping up. So, was there anything that you felt you had to shift or you had to do in order to keep your business moving along?
Yeah, so what ChatGPT did was really expose this UX pattern of the chat that we hadn't been experimenting with. So with Writer, we were building really app interfaces. Think of them as kind of mini generative AI applications, and in a lot of ways, the chat interface was a red herring. Right, we went and started exploring that because this is what folks started asking for, and it was like, no, 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 for the vast majority of use cases, that actually is not the right interface, and we went back to what we were doing. Now, certainly for customer support types of use cases, chat has been fantastic. Knowledge retrieval, it has been fantastic, but for these kind of big nodes in a workflow that are very knowledge intensive, that are very know-how intensive, you know folks understand and know what the business process should be, and they don't want to have to repeat a chat to get there. They kind of want to upload the things that they need and get back what they need, press a button type of interface, versus let me describe my life story to a chatbot. So you got to be a lot more discerning, and the fact that we had been doing it for a few years, exploring these use cases for customers with generative AI, allowed us to benefit from what the chat GPT moment definitely exposed to everybody, while also staying focused on what gave customers the most value.
Okay, so you started in 2020. Your valuation has increased a lot to, I think, to 1.9 billion or probably more, and you recently raised 200 million. So, how do you explain the eagerness of investors to bet on you, and why has your technology been as successful as it has?
Yeah, so investor success is all about customer success. And for us, that has been reflected in just a remarkable renewal rate in the high 90s, which is just unheard of. Remarkable expansion rate, over 150% NRR, only growing, which is also off the charts. And the value for us really is in piecing together what is very, very tough technology. It's LLMs plus retrieval, plus guardrails, plus orchestration, with a very easy to use application builder that allows both the AI engineers that have got a lot of technical depth to collaborate with the business users who have a lot of process depth, right, in the process that they're trying to bring generative AI to. And with a lot of development, it's kind of either or, and folks are either doing like a full engineering build where you got to go through an engineer and a Jira ticket to change one word of a prompt, or these no code tools that are kind of late breaking, infusing generative AI, that aren't really purpose built to make use of just the latest and greatest building blocks, and tying them all together. So we're doing that, and the result is an application that would have taken 9 months to build. I'll give you an example. This is an amazing customer, Cirrus MD. They do telehealth. They had spent months trying to build a set of features that allowed their doctors to spend just less time going through the admin of somebody's medical history and tying that to regulation and best practices. Writer surfaces these insights for them while they're having that conversation. And after months of trying, right, to build this solution on their own, we got it up and running for them in a matter of a few short weeks. And so it's just a huge delta when you can bring together that full stack solution that is purpose built for all of the tools that you need to build a generative AI application, versus what's happening today for these sophisticated apps that enterprises need to move the needle. They're stitching together really a complicated stack. So, the fundraising success, Sean, really came down to folks seeing in the numbers what they weren't seeing anywhere else in generative AI.
I think that's interesting because my next question was going to be like for you, because we've all heard the phrase full stack platform or full stack generative AI platform. What do you think that is your definition, or what makes something a full stack generative AI platform?
In tech, I think you really should only use the words full stack if, you know, for whatever is the dominant design of the paradigm you're building for, your product has all those things. And in the world of building AI applications, workflows, agents, these as the large language models become more capable, what you can do with what you build becomes more capable. Everything that you need needs to be in the box. And so right now, that is the need to connect LLMs to business process, LLMs to data, LLMs to an application that users can actually interact with. And that might be an API because it's a feature that gets built into something else. But like you need to be able to easily create those keys to deploy, etc. Um, Orchestration, reporting, eval, all of the things that customers require to be able to take a chatbot to 3,500 loan officers, right, in a call center. How do I know what kind of questions they're asking? How do I know if it's right? Right. This is non-deterministic technology, so you need a way to really audit that you are producing highly reliable, consistent results. The vast majority of AI that all of us have interacted with today, you ask it the same question at night and in the morning, you're getting different answers. And that's not cutting it for enterprises, especially not in these mission critical use cases.
Okay, thanks. So one of the things Esther has written about Writer, your company, is that you focus on multilingual models. So why is it so important for LLMs to be multilingual?
Every customer we work with, from Mars to L'Oreal, I mean, virtually every enterprise customer operates in multiple geographies. And so even as, we help largely American HQ'd companies be successful, right? It's just enormously important for all of their global offices to get on this too, right? For competitive reasons, for equity reasons. And what's amazing is the international offices, it just like they take to it so quickly. And with so many of our global deployments, it has been Canada, it's been Mexico, it's been France, it's been the UK, it's been India that's been like, gimme, gimme, gimme. And I get it now, actually, that we've seen it time and time again. They don't have the budgets. They don't necessarily always have the agency relationships or budget to be able to like get everything they need done. They don't get the headcount. And so it has been incredibly uplifting to the international offices of the customers that we sell to have Writer be able to operate in multiple languages. So this is all because Palmyra, our family of models, has training data in multiple languages, and we do our eval and red teaming, et cetera, in multiple languages. We published the IBM Blue scores for 30 plus languages. So it's very exciting to kind of see both threads of our professional lives kind of come together with transformers being so good at the translation problem. And honestly, we've seen companies in a weekend rebuild what me and Wasim had spent 4 years building, right, in our first company, the 80-20 of it. But multilingual training data and models that can really be as good in dozens of other languages as they are in English is something everybody should strive for. We're not always as good in every language. Certainly, it is definitely a scale, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I think that was gonna be my next question. You keep just jumping right on, but I guess there is a need for accuracy, and you mentioned red teaming, right? So how do you make sure your models remain accurate as well as compliant, especially because you are creating to enterprises in different countries, like you mentioned?
Yeah, the question is really compliant with what, Esther? And we've got customers who want to understand, where we are on their ESG policies. And so we walk them through how our models are 1/8 as efficient as the hyperscaler models, just as powerful, a lot of times more powerful, but trained and run on a lot less energy. So we really want to make sure that we are compliant with folks' ESG guardrails and guidelines. On bias and toxicity, we are one of the only companies that publishes how our models do on really key benchmarks for bias and toxicity, which means customers can, if they choose to, kind of modulate against that. We are very transparent about the provenance of our training data, and the distribution of that training data also rank as the highest closed source model, right? Because we're not, our core models are not open source, our leading edge models are not open source on the Stanford Foundation Model Transparency Index. So, for us, compliance really reflects what it is that the customer needs us to be compliant about. In generative AI, there's absolutely a trade-off between privacy and utility as well. And so, there are a lot of customers who, want to be able to understand how their users are using the product. And, we enable them to put that monitoring on. We are very flexible when it comes to data residency. That's literally built into the product. That's got, a lot of compliance considerations as well, and implications.
Okay, so building off of Esther's question, what are your general thoughts on regulation? Can you talk a bit about how you comply with the EU AI Act? And also, what responsibility do LLM providers have to provide responsible models? And should your industry partner with federal regulators, or try to shape the form of federal regulation, or is it going okay as it is? Or please talk a little bit about that stuff.
There's no question that the US, by being low regulation on generative AI, has leapfrogged ahead of the rest of Europe. And we've got an office in London. There are some incredibly forward-thinking executives there who take risk, who invest in innovation. But it's just at another level when you are in New York City or you're in San Francisco. The American executive class, as it comes to driving their teams to invest in generative AI and figure out how to make the company wildly competitive with AI, it borders on manic in America. And I think in the US, in the EU rather, we're getting ready to comply with the EU AI Act. We've got to be compliant by August 25. We have laid out everything that we need to do and are making progress towards that. So we have every intention of abiding by the entirety of the act in all of the markets that we operate in, including the US. That becomes really the global standard. And I would not be surprised, Sean, if new leadership in the EU takes real notice of the fact that the just corporate sector in the EU, I would even put UK in that, is a lot more hesitant of AI because of uncertainty around regulation, and is as a result likely to become less competitive than their American peer group. And so I do think that we are likely to see, if not a rollback, then some announcements on what happens to enforcement post August 2025.
To hear the full audio podcast, please go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, TuneIn, Podbean, and other popular podcast platforms.